Hello, hello. Can you hear me? I'm not sure if I'm live or not. I can get a feedback in the chat. Perfect. Cool. Super excited to be here today. I hope you had a fun time so far. So tonight, I want to share with you a few tips and learnings over the years on how we deliver on our roadmap, especially at Sqreen. It's a complex topic. To be honest, there's no silver bullet. So what I will share here is more learnings over the years rather than a magic recipe. So I'm sorry for those of you who were hoping I would share the magic recipe today, but it's not happening. It's the first time I'm giving this talk, so I'd love to pursue the conversation after this talk and online. If you have any feedback, any question, any things I didn't cover or I should have spent more time on, I'm more than happy to pursue the conversation. Just a few words about me. So I'm Arnaud Breton. I'm based in Paris. I'm leading the product at Sqreen. I'm a former software engineer who turned into product. I found my way doing product management where I can be the actor of the change. I can have an influence on the product rather than in my previous experience. I hope it's not the same for everyone, but where I was more executing and not able to understand everything going on and have a say into the product roadmap and to the product decisions. So what is Sqreen? We are building an application security platform. So we're helping security teams and engineering teams deliver secure software. We started 4 years ago. The founders are two former red teamers at Apple. Basically, their job was to hack the iPhone, the MacBooks, the iOS and macOS, hoping to find vulnerabilities before those products were released. So as you can imagine, they had a ton of fun, and they decided to use their energy to make their learnings available to everyone. So it's a SaaS product, so you can sign up for free, you can try it out. We love feedback, so please give it a try. You can find us at Sqreen with a Q.com. Again, happy to pursue the conversation after if you want to know more on the topic. All right, before diving deep into how to build a roadmap, just a few words on my vision of what is a roadmap. So when I think about a roadmap, I think it's really about setting out a course. And I will use a lot of analogies with sailing just after. For me, a roadmap is here to enable all teams, all people in the company to align behind a common direction. It's also a way, and I will come back to that just after, it's a medium, and I think a roadmap can take different form depending on the purpose you want to use it for. But today, what I see as the main purpose to define and to use a roadmap is really to articulate the product strategy. So I will come back to that topic after as well, but focus is a prime. There's so many things you can do, but only so few times to execute on it. So being able to say what you should do versus what you shouldn't do is as important to me. And the first question I'd like to ask is, do you need a roadmap? Because I think, and so when I joined Sqreen, we were 10 people, all based in Paris. Now the company is 60 people, over 2 offices, one in Paris, one in San Francisco, plus few people in remote across Europe. And having the need of a roadmap is only coming up these days. Fun coincidence, I was working on the roadmap we're going to present for the year to come at our next board of director happening next week. And in the past 2+ years that I've been at Sqreen, it's not something I've done regularly. And the reason behind that is I'm just making a quick detour through the product market fit. Feel free to reach in the chat if you want me to continue on product market fit, but basically, taking the Wikipedia definition here is you have a product that has found this market. I don't believe there is a single PMF. You can find several PMF over the course of the year. That's exactly what's happening with us at Sqreen. We found the first PMF with engineering team who are interested to do security but don't have the bandwidth and the resources to do it. So they use Sqreen kind of as their security engineer as a service. And now, as we're growing, we are working with modern security team who have a very different usage, very different needs of our product. And so we are looking to reach another product market fit. Why am I making a detour through product market fit is I believe in the early days. So that was the stage. So again, when I joined Sqreen, we were 10-ish people, all in Paris. The seed round was just closed. And so basically we were navigating with a lot of fogs. So the horizon was not really clear. And so the goal, having a roadmap at the time was not so useful because the time to define the roadmap would have been as long as executing on it. So we were better to focus our energy on experimenting, building a lot of stuff and iterate with our users rather than making big plan, which would be obsolete the time we executed on it. Does that mean we didn't have a roadmap? Not so much. I think we had a plan in mind, but so this plan was so volatile and moving fast that I wouldn't call it a roadmap. So that was the really early days, really pre-PMF of Sqreen. Then the horizon started to open up a bit, but still we were not confident committing on long-term stuff. So in the early phases, priorities were changing every 2 weeks, every month. We've been through Y Combinator, was lucky to be part of the team at that stage in early 2018. And I can swear the priorities were changing day in, day out, which was fine because we were here to iterate a lot and nail it. And after YC, we started to make plans for the months to come and next the quarter to come. And so the need of a roadmap started to rise, but still we were understanding that we had to be flexible because until you nail the PMF, committing on big plan is probably hurting you more than benefiting your company. And so now I think we reached the stage where the horizon is clear, at least on the first PMF. So I just want to stop here. Again, I don't believe there is a single PMF. There's many. We found one in the early days with the engineering team, and now we are looking for others with different kind of teams. So even if on the PMF side, the segment we nailed, we have a clear horizon, we can make big plans and commit on more long-term plan. On the other one, we know we need to experiment a lot. So it's 2 different mindset, 2 different cycle, and it's okay. I think it's okay to have a big plan for what is certain, what is nailed, and as you tackle the mid-market or the enterprise, they need that. All for your prospects and leads, they buy the product on the vision, not necessarily what's here today. So you need data sets. So that's a point I want to come back after, the need of a roadmap and the purpose of a roadmap. But on the other slices where we look for PMF, we definitely want to be agile and iterate fast to nail it. I don't know if that's clear. If you can type in the chat if you have any question on that part. I'd like to make this talk as interactive as possible. Yeah, that's a very good question, Claude. So just to repeat the question for everyone online, could you tell us more about Y Combinator? Did you think it was worth it? Wasn't it late for you to do YC in 2018 after 3 years of operation? So that was a long debate. Going back in December 2018, that was the question we were asking ourselves because during YC isn't free, both in terms of equity, in terms of time, in terms of investment. We had to relocate half of the team to SF, which, as you know, has a cost of life way different than Europe in general, and France and Paris. It would mean changing our plan for 3 months, so basically losing or gaining a quarter, but you don't know what you're committing to. But the thing is, at the time, what was certain is the people we were talking with in France were understanding our vision, but not to the same level than the people we met in the Bay Area. I'm not saying Europe and France are lagging behind, but on that specific topic, the people who understand deeply our vision were located there. So I would say YC was for us a ramp to accelerate and move faster our relocation to the US, which would have happened anyway. So it was totally worth it. I don't think we would have reached the PMF so fast, and even maybe not, without first doing YC and second, spawning a team, establishing a team in SF. So to your question, definitely filled. Any other question on that part before I move on? All right, let's move on. Building a roadmap. So again, there's no magic recipe nor silver bullet, but I would say a roadmap can be just a list of things you want to do, but what's probably not great, or could be a way to articulate your product strategy. And I will come back to that just after on the execution part. I believe a roadmap is, there's two important parts in it, what's in there and what's not in there. But again, that's a conversation for just after. I think building a roadmap, so either you do it bottom up and you talk with users and you just schedule the different requests they have in a logic way, or you start top down and you define a strategy, you understand where you want to spend energy, and you use the roadmap to articulate that. I was mentioning I was working on the yearly roadmap today. That's exactly what we did. We first define our strategy, what we want to achieve, and then we just use the roadmap as a medium to explain how over the course of the quarters we're going to get there. Again, I don't think a roadmap is, I never seen anyone asking me for a strong commitment on the roadmap because I think things are meant to evolve. So again, your strategy will evolve, and so it's normal when your roadmap evolves with it as you discover and learn new insights about the market you're trying to tackle. Arthur, very good question. Is there an easy way to know how much time it would take to develop something? Let me stack that question, and I'm coming back to that just after. I'm just noting down, not to forget. So I think the gist of what I can share with you today, and I hope where I could have value to you people, is really on the execution. So building the roadmap, again, I believe, start with the plan, understand your strategy, and then the roadmap will flow. And the other way around will just be a laundry list of features and things you want to develop, but without a consistent strategy linking them. So to your question, Arthur, I think first it's about setting goals. So I don't know the stage of the company you are working at, but I think you're not alone, or I wish you are not. And so you will need to define those goals that are bringing people together behind an aligned target, a shared target, sorry. So for me, I would start there without even asking how much it takes. And I can detail just a bit after how we set the time we want to spend on a given initiative. For me, great goals, they are achievable yet ambitious. So we should all be pumped about reaching those goals. Yet if we reach them, let's say we talk about quarterly goals, if we reach them a month and a half in, it's probably because we haven't been enough ambitious. The other opposite is true as well. If you set goals that nobody can reach, everybody will just get tired and lose the motivation to go get them. So it's a hard threshold to find, but you just need to be above the comfort zone always to make those goals ambitious. Second, they should build alignment, meaning that now the team, the people working to reach those goals, they have a common target and they're all excited to reach it, and everyone is aligning that this is where we go and not in the different direction that the market, or customers, anyone want us to go. Because again, there's so much thing to do and so little time to achieve it. They might be easy to understand and remember, but might sound obvious. But in the very early days when we started to use the OKR framework, Objective Key Results, which is just one of many ways to formalize your goal, we were doing things a little bit more complex. And so for us, we're crafting the goal, it was clear, but for the people who had to run after them, it was far from crystal clear. So better have a goal which is simple to understand, even if not super precise and super deep, but at least when you ask your team, a question we like to ask is, go to anyone in your team and ask what they're working on, what are their goals, and a good test of that is, can they say what are their goals? If not, you should probably come back to the board. They should be measurable. You should be able to say week over week, are we making progress? Are we lagging behind? Are we overachieving? Otherwise, it's like this fuzzy horizon, but nobody knows where we stand. And so you cannot correct course quickly to readjust. They are timed, set a deadline. A goal without a time frame is pointless to me because, again, there is so many things you can do. And to your question, Arthur, right now on product, we use a notion called the appetite. We'd invite you to read the book by Bootcamp called Shape Up. There's lots of ideas developed in there, and some of them is setting an appetite. So basically what we do now is we have those goals. So I'm happy to share some of them to give you a concrete example, but they're just saying what we want to do. They don't say how much time we will spend on it, and they don't say exactly what we do. And so when we kick off the quarter and start the work, the first thing we say is, okay, we want to spend 3 weeks on that problem. Not 4 weeks, not 6 weeks, because again, if you put fuel into the engine, you can do so many things. But now if you constrain yourself and say, okay, we only have 3 weeks to solve that problem, you're being much more pragmatic and you're taking much better decision than running endlessly without that time. They should be empowering. Again, I hope you're not working alone, but those goals should let people be the owner of it, not only you. It shouldn't be a leadership thing to say, hey, we have goals and nobody trusts in them. A thing we do at Sqreen is every quarter we have a demo day, so it's definitely inherited from our time at YC. What is a demo day? We gather our customer, our advisors, people working closely with us, and we present what we've been up to. And so it's a great exercise for every one of us, especially the team on the engineering side, to take up the mic and present the outcome of their work, which might be super different from what they've been doing in the past 3 months, because they've been hard at work, they've been developing the different pieces, and now we need to present them in a way to showcase the value that it brings to our customer. So it's a super interesting exercise, and from my experience, while it's a hard one, everyone was thrilled to be a part of that experience and present directly to our customers what the result of their work. And I was saying in the introduction, my background is in software engineering. So when I was a developer, that's definitely what I wanted to do, like showcase the outcome of my work to my user and not just be coding all day long behind my computer. And something that is probably obvious, but we often forget them, is restated often. I don't think you can share goal at the beginning of the quarter and run every 2 weeks, every week. You need to remind the goal because we all get head down into execution. And so there is only taking a step back and be reminded about what we are trying to achieve is as critical as doing it in the first place. And so just coming one slide before, execution is all about focus. If there is one takeaway from that talk today, I want you to remind is focus. And so focus requires to say no often. And you don't want to be jerk and just say, leave me alone, we won't do that. You want to explain why you're saying no. And so without goals, it's impossible to do, but you must say no. If you don't say no, you're going to stack a lot of requests, you're going to stack a lot of things, which would be yet another distraction from your main goals. And so there's no magic here. There's only 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so there is so little time to achieve things. And so every stuff, every work, even little, which are bringing you away from your goals, just time lost again then. So being ruthless about prioritizing your goal and saying no is critical to me. I think a roadmap. So if I were to share with you some of the documents we work on here, you would see that we always, so we have this template that we fill in with to explain a given initiative, something we want to do in the product. And so there is a section at the end called out of scope. And I consider it as important as the rest, because stating what we don't want to achieve, especially when you're not the person doing it, is as important as stating what we want to achieve. And so don't underestimate that, because I think there's a lot of room for interpretation. And since 2 months, we've been living in a fully remote context, which even for a company like us happened all of a sudden. And so you want to reduce that room for misinterpretation to the minimum. And so just stating what you want to achieve and what you don't want to achieve is critical. So don't underestimate that, because I've seen many cases where we started to take side path where we didn't want to spend energy on that. And so part of the product management, which I think we don't talk enough these days, is a product is like a surface that grows. And so the more you add, the more you have to maintain, because you have users, they are paying for your service. And so every side drift you have where you added something because you wanted to test something, or a small feature for a customer, it's new surface to maintain. And so at the end of the day, you're again limited in your time and the bandwidth you have to maintain those things. So be mindful of that, because at the end, it's a huge piece of work. Again, I'm focusing today on the product roadmap. There is sales roadmap, there is marketing roadmap, which I think share a lot of common principles with this. But in the context of today, I feel more relevant and more credible to speak about the product roadmap. And so something which is super important to me, and I think you are on the front scene today, on the forefront today, is product and engineering. So my role as a product person and as a product leader is to align with the team on where we want to go. But of course, I don't want to be a dreamer. I don't want to make big plans that will never come realistic. And so to get there, I need the buy-in, I need the alignment, I need the energy of the engineers working with me to be aligned behind our vision of the product and execute on it. So we put a lot of energy at Sqreen to bring product and engineering together. In a lot of companies, unfortunately, there are two separated teams that leads to a lot of frustration, silos. And so at Sqreen, we put a lot of energy to bring those two teams very close together. So it's a single organization. We never talked about product team. It's always product engineering. I'm leading this group with our VP engineering today, and there's no decision I'm taking alone. When we imagined the product, the different initiatives, the different work we are speaking out, it's always with an engineer. We never take decision alone. And so at every step of the way, we just validate what we want to do. And so not saying everyone should have a say in everything, but at the end of the day, our job is to define where the product should go and be the voice of customers and the guardian of the product strategy. But if we don't have any commitment, or if we are just dreaming about things or technology or which are too far from us, we're just dreaming and we don't achieve anything. Again, that's a topic on its own, so it could be the purpose of just one talk. So here I'm just giving you a glimpse. And I think that's pretty much it for me today. my goal was really to share a few principles, which I think are super helpful to build a roadmap rather than a 101 course of what is a roadmap and how to build it. But again, I'm happy to take any question, any comments, or any area where you would like me to focus on. Thanks for your attention, everyone. So there is a question from Arthur again. Thanks, Arthur. He said, in a past position, I had a lot of struggle debating with the management team about features that should or should not be part of the product. I was in the product team and there were more vision than listening PMF. Did it happen to you? Definitely. I think the problem with that, Arthur, and you mentioned it in your question, is it's a matter of person and not a matter of strategy. So you don't want to end up in a position where because I'm the head of product or because the person is a founder or the CEO, then their voice has more weight. I think the way to remove that is just by putting the strategy together. And so if this strategy is clear, it should be easy to say, look, about why it doesn't fit our strategy, or yes, it should be part of it. Does it answer your question, Arthur? I will take the next one until you answer. Julie, hi. How to define good OKRs and how to engage all the team? I would say a good OKR is as good as the team understand it. So we've been through so many iterations, and so right now I can share. Let me try to see if I can find that slide. I have it because I worked on it today, and there is nothing confidential in there. I just want to find it. So OKR is always an interesting exercise because you're always in that situation where you have to negotiate. So you say, oh, we want to do that. And the engineering team is like, oh, it's going to take a lot. Or what do you want to do? Because until you give me the details, I cannot commit. So it's always a super interesting exercise. And that's where being with product engineering is critical. So it's, I would say, a good OKR is something that we all think we can reach. And so there's no magic bullet here, silver bullet. Let me just find the slide. It was here. It's here. Yeah. Up. Let me up. I will add it to this deck. Tuck. Up. Let's take the product one because they are the most interesting today. So one of OKR, which is a long-standing OKR, is to become the reference platform for security teams to observe, protect, and test their distributed applications. And so provide AppSec team with an holistic view is one of our OKR. There's a lot of KRs below, which are describing the different steps we want to reach. But again, those OKR are considered as good because I believe everyone understands what they mean and thinks they are realistic. How to engage all the team? I think it's the rule of thumb, I think, which we all need to remember is it takes a lot of transparency, a lot of explanation. If you just share the plan and say, okay, let's go back to code, won't work. If you explain how did you ended up with a strategy, what does that mean, why we invest in X versus Y, I think that's the only way to engage people. Did you implement A/B testing in Sqreen in order to weigh the importance of some features? What are your main testers? So A/B testing, not today, and I think we are not mature enough for that. However, what we do, and I was doing some this afternoon, is some basic user testing. So we are lucky to have a sales team which is passionate about our product. So they spend a lot of energy speaking with people on the field, battle testing ideas. So as of today, we don't have a real, how to say, a real user research team. So we have nobody who's dedicated at circulating ideas with our prospect and check if they would be valid or not. So we rely a lot on our salespeople to try some ideas and give us the feedback. But how I would say we do A/B testing and a lot of user tests. So when we do the mock-upping, the prototyping, we test our solution with our users. And again, there is a good balance to find here because you can spend infinite amount of time testing because there will always be room for improvement. And I think to go back to my point, Arthur, earlier, just sizing the appetite you have for a given topic, size also the effort and the time you spend on testing. Again, the goal is very so little time to execute, then testing forever won't lead you anywhere. What are your main tester? So we are lucky to have a product that solves a big need. And so people are today not super equipped on anything security or anything we can offer. And so we are lucky to have a strong partner with us who are willing to spend time with us, test the feature early on, take up some crash. We do a lot of software and tech. So I won't hide you that there is bugs, but we are lucky to have people next to us testing the feature early on. And now we have this notion of design partner. So it's a very small group of our users who are ready to dedicate a few hours a month to test ideas with us, test the product early on. They are limited because we don't have the resources to work with hundreds of them. Today there are less than 10. But that's people we really have a strong relationship. We understand what are the challenges, and they are aligned with our strategy. So we know that they won't bring us in direction we don't want to follow. Is there any other question, or do you want me to come back to some after? We'll have to jump out, but I can take one more question maybe. You're welcome, Julie and Arthur. Cool. I think we can call it a wrap. It was my pleasure to be in front of you, everyone, today. Again, you can find me, let me find back the slide at the beginning. On Twitter, I'm at Arnaud_Breton. Happy to pursue the conversation online. My email is easy as well, arnaud@sqreen.com. So feel free to reach out to me, and I would love to pursue the discussion wherever it is on the web. Be safe, everyone. For those in France, enjoy the beginning of the end of the lockdown. That's a bit longer way to say it, but be safe, pay attention to you and your family, and I hope to see you again in a few weeks or months in person this time. Bye-bye.